What's going on, guys? I'm going to talk about something that's a very real conversation we should be having in this community. Recently, I talked about one of my biggest pickups and also my first ever NBA gold diamond stickered PSA graded Pokemon card, the Shining Raichu in first edition. That was super, super hype. But let's reel it in a little bit, get back to reality, because I'm not living in the reality that I should be buying these cards, right? I'm living in a fantasy world where I expect all of this stuff is going to just hold its value or keep rising in value. Mainly, and my whole hypothesis, and I've said this a million times on the channel, but I'm going to say it again for anybody that's new here. My whole hypothesis on why I keep buying these high-end vintage Pokemon cards, and when I say high-end, I just mean expensive, right? I don't even think they're high-end. They're not trophy cards by any means. They're just mass-produced, very highly graded cards that are costing a lot of cash right now. Anyways, my whole hypothesis has been, if these cards are really this rare and there's only 100, 200 of them in the entire world in PSA 10, even PSA 9, some of them, there's just a couple hundred of them. In the Raichu's example, 200 PSA 10, not a lot. 800 PSA 9. Now, that's a lot more in PSA 9, but still 800 of them? That's it? In mint condition, PSA 9, almost perfect? That's not a lot. To me, that's a lot of justification for why this stuff is going to continue to be sought after. It's an extremely small supply. It's only going to get scarcer. The supply is just drying up, essentially. Now, this is kind of happening in modern Pokemon with modern boxes. There's like an artificial scarcity. And we've talked about that. We've talked about how the fact that I don't think this should hold. This kind of environment where people are paying $300 for a box that is not even a month old. We should say, I'm pretty sure Mega Evolutions literally just came out. This set is brand new and shooting off. And it seems like every set that gets released from here on out will be shooting up. We are at the peak of a bull market right now. Anybody that has half a brain can see that we are at the absolute peak. Now, that being said, things could continue to remain very bullish for Pokemon. The graph could continue shooting up to the moon, okay? I'm not saying that that can't happen. What I'm saying is that you should be cautious about buying this stuff at these inflated prices, particularly the new stuff that has just come out. It's not to say that modern Pokemon isn't fucking awesome, okay? I love the modern cards. The whole Venusaur line in Mega Evolutions is fucking, it's crucial. But anyways, I think people need to be careful right now. There are those that are saying that right now we could be potentially facing the first recession we've had pretty much since 2008. Now, some would say that we kind of had some sort of recession during the COVID era or after the COVID era when stocks just took a dive and everything kind of died out. Now, I don't think we might have had a small correction, but we have had nothing near 2008. Now, granted, that has more to do with the housing crisis and them giving out mortgages like candy on Halloween, but that's neither here or there. What we're talking about is the fact that we are at the all-time high of pretty much degenerate behavior, right? We are seeing people gambling more than ever. We are seeing people grading everything. We are seeing people pumping every single card. You know, I just saw Opossum's video. He was talking about the Mars Shadow, right? The Mars Shadow that just has Pikachu's head in it that's gonna skyrocket, right? And even the non-hollow, the common Mars Shadow card is going up. We had the Barboach a while back with Pokémon. People were getting on him about the Barboach, even though it's the whole idea that people are willing to pump anything right now is so damn stupid. But this is where we're at right now. So where do we go from here, Ryan? I think people are going to continue to buy stuff, right? But I think if we see a major pullback, that could leave a sour taste in everybody's mouths. Like right right now, a lot of people are in this hobby for the wrong reason. A lot of people are in this hobby for chasing the money, right? How can they get a check out of catching them all, right? And I'm here to tell you, this cannot end well for buying super modern stuff, especially if you are buying at these crazy secondary market prices. Now, some stuff, I do believe that Destined Rivals is such a packed heater set that it may somehow continue to rise, right? I was wrong about Destined Rivals, but Mega Evolutions, is it good enough to already be a $320 set? Is it that good? Do you guys really think it's that good? I don't think people think it's that good. I think that we are fatigued from not being able to get these products for so long that I have people that are in the vintage collecting side of the hobby, just like me, except they only do vintage, and they're like, oh my God, I found Mega Evolutions in the wild. I have to rip this now. And it's like, guys, that's a huge signal to me. People that don't collect modern are like, I'm just going to buy and rip this because you can't get it anywhere. It's valuable because you can't get it. This is what the Pokemon Company wants. And this is what I guess will continue if nothing changes, right? If they can't print more and give us the demand that we actually need, right? Then shit's cooked. Then these prices are going to continue rising. If you are an investor, bro, you are winning today. The rest of us are looking like Timmy's out here holding off. Seriously, though. I mean, this is just the truth. Right now, a lot of us are missing out, and it's creating a lot of frustration. It's creating a lot of anxiety, a lot of FOMO, a lot of anger. All of the emotions are coming out. At what point does this explode? Because it feels very, very close to the whole hobby just imploding. Now, I don't know. That's just my conspiracy theory, right? It's just a theory. A lot of the hobby is just speculation these days anyways, with not a whole lot of proof. Now, the proof that we do have that the hobby will continue and remain strong, proof is in the pudding, unfortunately. We have a bunch of leaks that I mentioned shortly in yesterday's video. Today we're going to talk about that, right? So we have a Ruby Sapphire leak, right? We have an Emerald set leak. We have some crazy. They're retroing some of the OG sets basically by using those names. They know exactly what they're doing. Us OG vintage collectors are saying to ourselves, oh fuck. They're putting in a Sapphire Ruby name. They're putting in an Emerald name. These are my gems of games, right? These are the games that really got me into the hobby to begin with on Game Boy, right? What's gonna happen when we have these sets and they get released and they are just absolute bangers? We're definitely gonna get Kyogre. We're gonna get Groudon. We're gonna get Rayquaza. And these are mega sets, so we're probably gonna get megas of all of those. Holy cooked. Holy cooked. And on top of that, we are at an all-time high as a society on TikTok, on Instagram. Everyone is showing their absolute abundance of all of these collectibles. Walls, right? Now, the Great Wall of Orion has been here since 2019, right? And it hasn't changed that much. It's really just a hodgepodge of my display boxes that are empty and some game systems that I probably shouldn't have bought. But I bought them anyways because I was like, yeah, that's fucking cool. I'm going to buy that. That is how I buy a lot of stuff. It's impulsively. It's if I like it, if it gives me some sense of nostalgia and happiness. That is one of the main reasons that I stayed collecting in Pokemon. That and the community that it's built and all the friends that come out on the streams that we do, which tonight we will be doing a stream. We will be doing a late night stream. It is our usual Wednesday night stream time. But that's the other thing. I've started doing streams a lot more, and it's cool that we can regularly get people to come out, even with no title, no plan, no strategy for the streams. We just do a stream and people come out. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, the community and the happiness it brings me and the nostalgia factor, that's been huge. You know, look at me. I look like I'm still 17, right? That part of that, I believe, is from Pokemon. Part of that, I believe, you know, some of it has stressed me out big time buying some of these big cards. but that's on me. I'm a big boy. I can take care of my finances and figure out what I can and cannot afford. Even if it means selling my entire PC of raw cards, which is what I'm working at right now. Every single day we're shipping cards out. Yeah, anyways, right now we need to be careful, guys, because, especially with the whole Labubu thing that just happened, Labubus were hype and then it died off really quick. Who's to say that that can't happen to Pokemon even in this generation right now? In the previous video, we talked about how kids cannot even get this product. How are you going to say that kids are going to like this stuff in 20 years if they can't even get the fucking product? That argument is so silly to me. But I think it's mainly just adults collecting right now. It's mainly adults trying to get a bag. It's mainly adults collecting the cards, hyping it up, making videos of it. Kids are literally like, they're in a corner, right? They're in the corner just trying to get whatever scraps they can get if they can go to Walmart or Target and get stuff. And right now, school's in, right? So kids they can't go to the store in the middle of the day and get Pokemon cards unless they take some kind of sick day, right? So again, it's mainly adults coming in, ruining the hobby, buying up all the product, taking everything, hoarding it, investing in it, sitting on it. And I, for one, would like some kind of major correction, would like some kind of recession. I don't even care about the financial security of my own collect. I really don't give a shit because I have a normal job and I make money every week regardless. There's no point for me to hinge anything on having a super biased opinion about Pokemon. Yes, I have a biased opinion about vintage, low pop, highly valuable, iconic cards, right? I have a biased opinion about that. And that is mainly because it has proven itself to be true over the long term. Over the long term, these older, low population cards that are truly rare, right? A chase card from a modern set is rare, but there's 10, 20,000 of them in PSA 10. The McDonald's Burger Chew, it's rare because it was the special Japanese promo release. But there's going to be 20, 30,000, 40, 50,000 of them in PSA 10. Van Gogh Pikachu. I love Van Gogh Pikachu, right? I've still got both of mine. And I'm having a hard time not selling my duplicate because I'm like, bro, you need the money right now. But I'm like, no, you're a real collector. You're going to hold out. Like, for me, selling stuff for the money all the time just feels kind of like being a sellout. But that's just me. And I try not to do that. I really try and hold on to some of my favorite cards, regardless where they're at, monetary-wise. But, oh my God, Van Gogh Pikachu, like $2,000 for like a free promo card. Like, the problem is a lot of people don't understand the origin of these cards. They just see them and immediately think that they're rare, valuable. I truly think that the modern average collector is just buying cards they see that they think are cool. They see the last sold listings. They're like, oh, well, it's worth this much because it recently sold for that. But is it worth that much? Are some of these really not rare cards worth as much as they're going for? That's always been a debate for me. I love modern, but I love cheap modern. I love affordable modern. I don't love pumped and overhyped and overinflated and artificially manipulated modern. That doesn't get the wheel turning for me. That doesn't move the needle for me. And I've got a pretty big needle. Okay, what else? Right now, everybody thinks they're a guru. Everybody thinks they're a guru right now. And I'm just a simpleton collector idiot, right? I'm just the guy that likes old cards that's willing to fork out a shitload of money to get some of these cards because there's just no other way. It is what it is. And I'm genuinely right now, I'm just collecting what I like the most, and I feel really confident in doing that, regardless of whether prices fall back big time or not. I'll continue buying the same cards because I believe in it. Now, there's a lot of people that believe in modern sealed product in the modern market, but we've always seen a downturn in Pokemon at some point. When's it going to be? Because it feels like we're damn close right now. It feels like we are damn close right now. Everything is bubbly. It's grown-ass adults are having a hard time affording this hobby. Normal, average, working-class people cannot afford Pokemon. I am not disconnected. I am not estranged from the reality that I live in a fantasy world where I have the income and my bar business does so well that it allows me to continue buying these monstrosity priced cards, right? The amount of money that I am spending to continue as a collector, collecting what I enjoy most, it really hurts, right? When I was buying Grails before, it was like, okay, I bought some really big cards for 10, 20 grand, but they were the absolute most rare cards out there, right? It wasn't just buying anything that's hyped up. It was the rarest cards out there, namely being my Skyridge Secret Rare Crystal Charizard in PSA 10. That was 10 grand. That was a big one. I got a lot of shit for that one. That was a big one. And then the first edition base set Charizard for $18,000 in a PSA 9. It's closer to like 50 or 60 now. Anyways, I bought those cards because I truly did not care what they were going to cost me. I knew that I badly wanted them, and I knew that they had been a checklist for me for the longest time. And I said, you know what? We're going to make this happen no matter the cost. But aside from that, a lot of the cards that I bought afterwards were really like, none of them were over 10K. None of them were even over 1,000. Really, a lot of them were, or 1,000, 2,000, $3,000 max. And I know this is still a lot of money, but this was also a year or two ago, right? Those same cards are now 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 30,000. When we see these already pricey cards that the average person cannot afford and they 10x, it's really hard for me to believe that this is going to be sustainable. So this is just kind of my alert to everybody, myself included. Do as I say, not as I do. Because I do the wrong shit a lot. And by that, I mean I spend way too much money in this hobby. I'm very aware and conscientious of the fact that I spend way too much money in this hobby. Way too much. But I love the cards, and that's just what it boils down to. How badly do you want the cards around? But I badly hope that we will have some type of pullback, some type of recession, some type of crash. If not in the macro economy, at least the collectibles economy, because I'm just not sure how most of us are supposed to move forward. Even the people that have been in this hobby for a very long time are kind of calling for them to print more and do something to help this market be more sustainable. And with that, I think I'm going to let you guys go. This is going to be a short one because we've got our live stream later. I just think things are max craziness right now. And again, these box stores, they always had Pokemon stuff. Target, GameStop, Walmart, they always had Pokemon stuff. Even Harris Teeter. Harris Teeter you could go into, they would have packs hanging from the wall. It has been months since I've seen a single product available. And I have always been the one to say, guys, even if you can't find stuff, just keep looking, keep checking your stores. It goes to the early bird gets the worm. And that's always been my motto for modern collectibles, right? It's been, if you go to the store, they will have it. You just have to be consistent. No, because I've been consistent. And while I haven't really been going out of my way to track vendors, we go to these stores almost every other day, whether we're getting baby supplies or baby clothes, or we need something for the house, or just some miscellaneous product. Who knows? It's whatever Diana is feeling like grabbing that day. We're always having to get something from the store. Whenever we're in the store, I go, hey, wait, baby, I'm just going to go real quick. I'm going to go check the card aisle. I go to check the card aisle, and I'm not expecting anything. because I know how things are today. But whenever I go to check that aisle, it's always sports, Yu-Gi-Oh!, One Piece, or Lorcana. There's never Pokemon. There's never Pokemon. And even, honestly, to be fair, even Lorcana, One Piece, and Yu-Gi-Oh!, even that stuff, even products that aren't that popular, just people are just blindly buying whatever. Mostly the shelves are just cleaned off completely. So that is the reality right now. And I don't know how anybody could say, you have to be super out of touch to think that this is a normal that we are going to have to adjust to. And ain't nobody gonna fucking adjust to this. This is fucking bullshit is what this is. This is not being able to get product at all. That's what this is. That's what we're in right now. We're at a peak bullish time in Pokemon where everyone thinks they can make it rich. And I think that people are going to get burned so badly. But then again, just because I got burned back in 2019, 2020, I was buying stuff just because I love the cards, and then the prices came back down. I didn't really care because I was so entrenched in the hobby. I was like just blindly, I wanted to buy what I wanted to buy. You have to let people make their own decisions and fail on their own, right? Someone watching this is probably not going to be like, well, I'm going to pull back just because Orion said things are going to get rocky. By all means, do what you want to do. I think people learn best from their own experiences and their own failures. And that's how I learned, right? I didn't listen to people. People were saying that the market was crazy back in 2019, 2020. And to be fair, a lot of the prices have come back to beyond their all-time highs, right? So in the end, something I've always said to my own father has been, Pokemon is not going anywhere. Because my parents, my family has been very disturbed with my amount of spending in this hobby. Like, you're really still buying this stuff, Ryan? Like, you really still think this stuff is going to continue, going up in value? Aren't you worried that you don't have, all of that money in basically a cushiony savings account? But for me, it's about the clout. It's about the street cred, if you will. It's about saying I have these cards because I have worked my ass off building up this collection. That's what I'm in it for. I'm a very competitive person in nature. Now that I've got our dream house for the family and we're settled in here, my goals have completely reverted back to just how can I build the ultimate Pokemon card collection, right? How can I curate one of the coolest Grail card collections that's in the space right now? Because everybody can talk about products going up, everybody can talk about charts, everybody can talk about boxes, everybody can talk about modern cards, everybody can talk about plays, everybody can talk about investing. Very few people in this hobby, one thing I've noticed, very few people in this hobby are just buying the cards they absolutely love and talking about that to their audience. A lot of it has been what's going on in the hobby, what topics can we cover. That's what content is most of the day. And then there's, thank God, there's a little bit of levity from some of our creators talking about just funny stuff, making fun of scalpers, making fun of, creators that are basically saying everything is to the moon and, buy this product or miss out, or, people are missing out on this opportunity. It's all about baiting people into opportunities right now, and no one seems to be talking about the cards they love most to collect and why they're collecting them. That's what collecting is all about, I thought. Anyways, this whole narrative of invest, pump, buy everything in Pokemon right now, it's dangerous, guys. For older, rare vintage cards, and even some mid-era stuff, and some modern stuff, I would even say. I would dare say the Latios, the Lovebirds from Team Up, right? There are some modern cards that, that's 2,000 something in pop in PSA 10. There are some modern cards that are just significantly rarer because of how many of them were printed, right? That's something to really look at. Now, ultra modern, the stuff that we have today, even though it's 20, 30, 40, 50,000 PSA 10 population, and they're just printing a ton of it in general, but clearly they're still not printing enough, which is fucking blows my mind. But even that stuff will have its day in the sunlight. And it's already having its day, right? Like, it's already hyped up. But I think truly it's going to retrace, and then in 5 years from now, you're going to see that stuff hit some crazy all-time highs. And that's warranted. That's justified. You know, that's growing. That's the organic growth that we love to see here in the hobby. We love when you buy a card and in a couple years, that card goes up in value. That's fun. That's sustainable. It makes sense. But what happened to an abundance of raw available cards on the market that are affordable? What happened to that? Or product affordable in the store? What happened to that? Anyways, I think people need to be, I'm veering off track here. People need to be careful. We're seeing more gambling and more recession signals and more crash signals than we've seen in a long time. But that's just my opinion. I feel free to troll me and just say Pokemon is not going anywhere but up. These sets are going to continue going up. You missed out. I understand that you missed out and you're upset, Orion, but the stuff is going to keep moving up. Please feel free to be critical of me. I don't make these videos expecting everybody to hop on the bandwagon, right? I make these videos to challenge the norm of what most people are saying. And another thing that I want to point out that people are catching on to is grading, right? Right now, the quality of the cards being printed are much higher quality than the previous quality we were getting, right? So some believe that the populations are going to go much higher, and this is going to be a way that controls the market, that Pokemon is going to say, yep, these cards aren't as valuable as you think because we're printing them all with much higher quality. Or that's just something that I thought was the case, and maybe they're printing even worse quality, and that's going to make these cards go up even more in the opposite direction, right? These cards are going to get extremely expensive because they are tougher to grade. But I think I've heard that overall the grading potential is much higher on the stuff they're printing today, which means that technically the value would fall because there'd be more copies graded. I want to shout out my boy, one of my modern plays though. I do want to shout out the Salamence EX. I love talking about this card. I love this play because it's just ridiculous. It's everything that I just talked about. This card right now is going to the moon. The Salamence EX from Journey Together. This is the exact one that I have listed on eBay. I've had it listed on there. I keep getting offers. The price keeps going higher on this card. And it makes no sense. This card's price, I mean, I love it. I think it's a grail card. I think it deserves to be a high price maybe in a couple of years. But the fact that this is already a card that's trending $500, $600, $700, we're trending up in that territory right now. It's ridiculous. Journey is not an old set. It's ridiculous. It took a while in the past for any cards that were this modern to actually appreciate in value. So seeing that card skyrocket right now is just like, I'm like, yo, this is nuts. I need to sell these soon. Even though there is a part of me that if I can manage to hold on to my 18 PSA 10 Salamence for a really long time and just see where it goes, because the raw prices are rising too on that card. The raw price on that card, I think is like $85 to $90 from like $60, $70. So yeah, everything is moving up right now. And Journey Together is honestly a fantastic set. It got so much hate, but it's a fire set. Anyways, and maybe a good place to look for some value still right now. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Are we at a peak time in gambling in our society and collectibles and speculation? Or is it just a gut feeling that I'm having alone? I think a lot of people are going to agree with me. This feels like we're about to, something's going to break, right? Something's got to give. Anyways, peace out, guys. I'll see you later for the stream.